Hello, everyone. Welcome to Writing, Chats, and Friends. Today, Ken and I are going to talk with someone that we have known for quite a few years, and we've been following her career, the band's career, and I'm so happy to catch up with her again. This is Aria Burstyn. Hi, Anne.
Hey, how are you? Nice to see you guys.
I know. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the band first.
Sure, okay.
Because your music, and if anyone hasn't heard of the band, it's called Dream Aria. That's dream like you have a dream, and aria like a beautiful song.
I love it.
In fact, Anne, I've heard you called Aria Burstyn.
Yeah. Right. That's the stage name. Yes, right.
Yeah, your magnificent voice. And I wanted to go over some of your latest music. And one of the things that caught my eye was one that was called The Professor.
Oh, yes.
And I know this is a tribute to one of the Rush band players, Neil, is it Peart? Peart. I never say things right, so thank you for correcting me.
No problem.
And why did, out of all the people, all the musicians, why did Dream Aria decide that, this is one we really want to focus on?
Well, that was all my fault. So I take full responsibility now. Well, we do it as a band together, obviously. But what happened was Gary had brought in a piece sort of at the tail end of us recording our new CD, Out of the Void. And of course, it had no vocals on it. It was just instrumental. And right out of the gate, it just reminded me of a Rush song, like an older kind of Rush song. It's very progressive rock, of course. And, a bit of Emerson, Lake and Palmer in there. But because I had Neil on my mind quite often, because as a Canadian growing up listening to Rush, all the time, and they're on the radio all the time, like their older songs. You can't turn on the radio for more than 50 minutes and not hear a Rush song in Toronto, which is fun. But I had a really emotional time when he passed away. It was a shock, of course. Yeah. So he was on my mind still at that point, and I just couldn't really shake it. And I thought maybe it would be nice to write the lyrics geared towards him, for this piece, but I didn't know if the guys would go for that or not. But as I started to write the lyrics and they read them, they said, yeah, we really like these lyrics. So yeah, okay, let's run with it. But let's not be, because Neil was so against the adulation. He did not like fame. Yeah. And he didn't like the idea of being idolized or anything like that. In fact, quite the opposite. So I thought, well, how could we do this without, stepping over any lines and that sort of thing? So I tried to make the lyrics more, metaphorical, ambiguous, which is sort of my style anyway, in a more abstract way.
But why the professor?
Well, the professor, yeah, he's known as the professor because he's sort of the master at his craft, and a lot of other musicians sort of learned from him, per se. So they were okay with that, and then we decided to do a video as well, and I did it in the same vein, just sort of using imagery regarding album covers and the lyrics, but not showing him, just sort of ideas of him, I guess. And yeah, it just turned into something a little bit bigger than we had expected.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope he would be okay with that.
I think he would. You did it in a very classy, respectful way.
We really tried, yeah. We really wanted to do it that way. So yeah, so thank you for asking about that song. It's one of my favorites on the album, actually, just as a musical piece too, not just because of him, I just love it. It's a great prog rock song. So yeah.
Another one that caught my eye, and I don't know if many people have listened to this, but they should. And it's called The Hourglass.
Oh yeah, that's a fun song.
And what I loved about it, it encompasses Mother and Father Earth.
Yes, it does. Well, sorry, Father Time and Mother Earth.
Father Time. I'm sorry.
Say, apples and oranges, right?
Yeah, well, I guess it makes a difference, Ken.
Yeah, so the feminine, masculine, divine, Mother Earth, Father Earth, Father Time, Mother Time. I mean, the gender really isn't, the important idea, I guess. But yeah, I had a little bit of fun with that one because I was just thinking about today's current events and whatnot, about the environment. And my daughter had been doing assignments in school on the environment and all that. So I just thought, it might be interesting to do a little sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing where it's the idea that Mother Earth feels like she never has enough time to sort of heal the earth and get things done, because women are like that, right?
Yeah.
Multitasking, we never have enough time. And Father Time is like, well, I'm on a clock here. There's no time. So she's begging him to kind of slow down, or at least to work with me. And he's like, I don't know about that. People to see, places to go. But it's very tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, it's a serious issue about what's happening in the world today. And at that time too, the wildfires were, as in one of my lyrics, the wildfires raging out of control in Australia and all over. And I was really heartbroken.
California, yeah.
Well, of course, yeah, sort of. That's why I'm saying all over. But at that time, during that week, all I was hearing in the news was all the animals perishing.
Yes.
And it was just breaking, because I'm an animal lover, as you probably.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah, so it was a timely piece, I guess. But we tried to keep it upbeat at the same time. I mean, the music is quite upbeat.
It is.
It's optimistic, I guess, at the end of the day, the music. So we can hope.
Well, you can't forget Fairy Dust.
Yeah. I don't know if you know what that one's about.
I believe, if I can remember, because I listened to it a while back, but I think it's like the clock's running out. We only have so much time before we're ultimately going to hit doomsday.
Well, I don't like to use the word doomsday too much, but actually it's about Dawn's wife who passed away.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and this is why the band was on hold for over a year, about a year and a half.
Yes.
Because it was a shock, the diagnosis, like, wow, okay.
Oh,
and
my word.
We spent 24/7s with her for that whole period. I don't know if you want to be even mentioning this, but it's such a beautiful piece, a beautiful tribute to her. He wrote all the lyrics, which
really,
he wrote all of the lyrics.
And when I listen again, It's going to
Yeah.
be something different now.
Yeah, it's all about her. They were together for many, many years, both their first and only marriage, and they were like sort of kids together. You know, they were
Yes.
definitely soulmates, and they had, you know, a wonderful family, and they were enjoying, you know, the retirement years, and then that happened. So it was very devastating, you know, for him, but for us as well, because we adored her. Jenny is her name. Just an amazing woman, just a firecracker and beautiful and so intelligent, just whip smart and hard worker, vibrant, all of these things. So that's and Dawn's idea was that basically everything she touched was like turned to gold or was like fairy dust. Everyone she touched. So I'm gonna get emotional now.
Well, of
So,
course.
so I told him, I said, of course, I would like you to write the lyrics. And he wasn't sure if he could do it. And I said, well, maybe it's a love letter. Maybe make it more like a love letter to her, anything that you didn't get to say to her that you wanted to say or something like that. So he spent quite a while working on it, like a sentence at a time. And it was really difficult for him, emotional. And at the end of the day, he came back with these beautiful lyrics. And I was like, wow. So
It's a great song.
I was a bit nervous because I thought, I hope I can do this justice, you know, in my vocal delivery and the emotion and all that. So he was happy with it. So as long as he's happy, I'm happy. So yeah, and I hope she likes it. I hope she's
in case you haven't picked up on it yet, folks, when you listen to Dream Aria music, you're listening to music that matters. It's soul. It's music about the soul and for the soul.
You're spot on there. Thank you for that. Yeah,
That's
from the heart.
and it's different. You take life and you put it into music, and the emotions come through, which is something that's hard to do with songs.
Yeah, it can be. It can be at times. Yeah.
What was the song that you did about the Nile?
Yeah, that was a while ago. Wow, that was Serpent Nile, and I believe that was on our album Transcend.
Yes.
Or is it on Fallen Angel? I don't know. We've got 5 albums now, but
yeah, I hadn't listened to that until recently.
Yeah, it's made this comeback. Like, woo, awesome. I really love that song because I've always had a pull and a draw towards Egypt ever since I was about 4 years old. In fact, I remember visiting my grandparents, and they had this magazine that was discussing Egypt and whatnot, and I just felt this magnetism towards it. So I want to learn more about it. And then I remember having a vision of myself sitting at this fountain with all this greenery foliage sort of hanging over me, and wearing this white kind of gown and this jewelry on my arms. My hair was black like it is in this life, and really, really curly though, and kind of up. And I remember it was like a garden, and it was warm and beautiful. It was like an oasis. And I remember thinking, this is the perfect life, and I want to go back to that life. I'm not so happy. I'm like, I want to go back to that. But as a child, I wasn't sure why I was thinking that. I thought, am I crazy? Like, what is that? It was a waking vision. It wasn't something that I had dreamt about asleep. Yeah. It was more wide awake, and I could just see this scene plain as day. And so then as I got to know more about Egypt, it was desert, no greenery, nothing, pyramids. I thought, well, why am I feeling like I was there before, yet it was all lush and green? Well, of course, it was like that along the Nile, but I didn't know that until I was older, right? So I often wonder, was I really there? I don't know. So that's where the lyrics came to be, sort of about my pull towards Egypt, but also the Nile and its grand effect, of course, on the life of the Egyptians. It gave them life, right? The river of life. So yeah, so that's how that came to be, and I really like that.
About that.
I really love. There's a lot of harmonies and stuff, a lot of layering, overlapping, almost like an ABBA kind of.
Yeah, it did kind of have that sense a little bit, but
yeah, so it was fun to do.
But different.
Yeah, and it's got that Middle Eastern vibe too in the actual music itself, which I like. So yeah, it's like I said, making a comeback. I don't
It is.
all these years later. Yeah, that was almost. I mean, it's before my daughter was born, and she's 13, so it was probably 15. Yeah, right in the beginning of Dream Aria. It was one of our older songs. So
Well, I'm glad it got rediscovered because it's worth listening to, worth purchasing.
Thank you.
Now, let's go to another part of your life, and I
Sure.
hope you'll talk about this with us.
Yeah,
This is your photography.
sure. Yeah, I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I know you took this up, a few years back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the pictures that you put on Facebook, I just found one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen was you feeding an animal on this beautiful trail in the forest.
Yeah.
And I can't recall what the animal was. It a deer or was it
It was a swan, actually.
a swan? That's right.
Big,
That's right.
Big swan. Huge. That
Yeah.
is as tall as me almost. It's a very large bird.
But it allowed you to do that.
Yeah, it was very, very tame, surprisingly. I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought I might get bitten or something, but I believe other people had been feeding it before me.
Oh, okay.
So I, had a bag of seeds because on that trail, you're allowed to bring seed and the birds will sit in your hand and eat from your hand. So that was my intention, was for the small birds. And
you got a big bird.
I got a big bird. Here comes this big, beautiful, majestic swan right out of the water. He was in the water with his, I don't know if it's a male or female, but with the mate, and came gliding over in the water, stood up and came right up to me. I thought, oh, okay. And I took a chance and just, put my hand out, put a bunch of seed in there. And it was like, there's a video of it as well. And I was saying in the video, it was like a Hoover because it wasn't, see, I can't see myself, so I can't see what you're saying, but it wasn't like pecking. It was like suctioning, like this, like suctioning. You could hear this rattling, like going through its long, hard palate and the beak. So it even sounded like a devil. So it was quite an experience, and it did not hurt at all, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't have continued to do it. But it was very demanding in that it wanted more and more. So luckily, I had a sort of a large.
I guess they're used to it, huh?
I think so. Yeah. So they're a little bit spoiled, but yeah, the friend of mine who was videotaping it took a couple of still shots and took the little video. So I put up the short video clip and then the one still shot on my Facebook. So that was just 2 weeks ago, and that was on one of my 12-hour photo walks. So we were purposely looking for any wildlife, mostly birds, and saw 2 muskrats and lots of beautiful birds, and of course that swan encounter. So it was quite an awesome day. I love being out in nature, so it was wonderful.
It helps a lot, and if you don't want to talk about this, let me know, because I want you to just feel comfortable. But Ken and I care about you. We care what's going on with you. I know that you had a devastating loss recently, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad.
No, it's okay.
But I wanted to kind of give tribute to this person that you just highly esteemed. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm not going to say names or anything, but for someone to go through, this was not just, okay, someone had a heart attack or someone, didn't know they had something wrong with them. This person was actually murdered. And I want to talk about grief a little bit because, Ken, I think a lot of us have been going through grief the last couple of years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to make you feel bad, so if you don't want to talk.
Oh, it's okay because I've been emotional all day, so it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And in fact, the name that he used on his Facebook had the word swan in it, and I keep having these encounters with swans.
And look at that one you just said. Wow.
So
Is
when we're
that-
talking about the swan, I'm already emotional. So
Yeah,
so
just say swan, right?
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you can take this grief and take it into your music somehow.
Yeah, I have actually written poems about him, and sung a number of very like melodies and whatnot into my phone. I have a little recording app, voice recording app on my phone. So definitely there's going to be something that I would like to do.
That would be great because
Yeah.
that's something I think every person can relate to.
Yeah.
I know that'll happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
When it, when the time's right for you.
Yeah.
But I think that would be not only an honor to a great friend, but also help other people going through the same type of situation. And I think you can all see why Anne is such a great songwriter, great lyricist, because she feels it. When you hear her lyrics, it's not just, oh, I decided to write a song about this. It comes from the heart.
Yeah, it does. I can't imagine trying to write something that I haven't experienced or haven't seen someone around me go through, because I'm more like an empathic, very emotional. Very
And would you care to share some of the lyrics that you have been going through your mind about this loss?
Yeah, sure. But I want to add something too about my friend. I've got many friends, family, of course on my Facebook, there's many people on there that migrated over from MySpace with me. So
Yes.
I've had these amazing friends for since day one of Dream Aria, since the day we released our album 2004. I'm still friends with these people, and there's 5,000 of them. And people think, oh, you can't know all those people. Well, you know what? I do. I pretty much do know in some capacity, and they are all very kind about my band and complimentary and all that sort of thing. But when I came to my friend Alan, he was like over the top. I mean, he was so invested in this band.
Yes.
It was like he was like another member in a way, and so much that when
Number
I would,
one fan.
yeah, and when I would go into the studio, I would, on my Facebook Messenger, I would just press record. There's a recording feature on there too, and I would just record live what we were doing, and I would keep sending it to him. So he was this sort of there, and sort of there's dog fur flying around me. So it was like he was there in the studio with us, and he particularly loved the album On the Other Side. And so much so that he went and made a t-shirt with the artwork from the other side on the front of it, which is about trying to reach someone who's crossed over.
Yes.
And he would just listen to that music all the time. And then to lose him, and it was almost like
he's trying to tell you.
Sure. I don't know that you've lost him yet. It seems he's gone to the other side. But I think Monica was trying to say, I think at the same time, he's still trying to stay connected. And maybe that swan was his messenger to you.
I've had a few. I've had a fox that came up to me from nowhere. I was standing on a hill. I've been to this park hundreds of times, like thousands of times, doing my photography up there. And after he passed, this fox just came slowly up, like smiling. His mouth was open. He was like,
wow.
And he came and sat down right there with me. And I was in, shock. And I sort of reached out my hand thinking maybe it's going to let me pet it, but you got to be careful. But then it just stayed there for a little bit and then stood up and kind of slinked off. And I was like, did that just happen? I've been wanting to see a fox for years,
And you were sent a fox.
Sorry?
You were sent a fox.
It felt like, sorry, it's just something on my phone. It felt like maybe it was him, but there's been so many other signs that I think are hopefully from him. One of the biggest ones, if you don't mind me going
no,
on,
not at all.
one of
People can understand.
yeah, one of the most surprising ones was he and I, when we were talking, it was usually about our lives, of course, and photography, nonstop. Animals photography. So like I've got so many messages from him telling me what camera lens I should get and all the spec, like on and on, all this technical stuff. So it's kind of funny. But for whatever reason, one day I decided to tell him about only one of my friends, a good friend of mine, Layla, a wonderful person. And I mentioned so much about her that she's, very spiritual and she's an artist and an animal lover and has all these animals and whatnot. And he says, oh, she's like the southern version of you. You're the northern and she's the southern. And I thought, oh, she sounds like this, wonderful, beautiful, amazing person. And he was very complimentary of her without having even met her. But he also told me about a favorite movie of his called My Favorite Year. And he said that he used the name of the character from that movie as his Facebook name, which was Alan Swan. And he said, so anyway, that's all he said, that he wanted me to watch that movie. He says, oh, it's my favorite movie. I use the name Alan Swan. I'm like, okay, that's great. So I ended up telling Layla, I said, oh, Layla, I told my friend Alan, about you and hope you don't mind. And also he mentioned this favorite movie of his and, this name Alan Swan or whatever. And that was the end of it. And I'd say days after he passed, she messaged me out of the blue saying, Anne, listen to this. You'll never believe this. She says, I was watching TV and she says, I left the room and all I heard was Alan's name being called out from the other room. So she went running back in and just pressed record on Facebook and recorded it and sent it to me. And I don't have regular TV, so I wouldn't get this on my TV. I just have Netflix, but she has regular TV where she gets these old movies and whatnot. So that movie came on in her living room. And the part that she sent me and that she heard specifically was the scene that said, you could hear these characters talking. You could hear this male character saying, what was that guy's name again? It's Alan, something, Alan Swan. It's Alan Swan. And that's the section that she heard. Like, she could have heard any part of that movie where it could have been them talking about shopping or groceries or anything.
Yes.
But it was that one, like introducing Alan Swan. And she sent this to me and I went, now she's the only person I ever told that that's a name he uses and about that movie. And she's the only one that I told him about.
You're answering another question here that people, I think, often wonder about artists, musicians, actors, etc. Do artists care about their fans? Do they care about the people who are on the other end? And I think you're answering that in one of the most emphatic yeses I've ever heard given to a question that hasn't been specifically directed to you.
Oh, yeah. I definitely care because, being 4 years old back in the day, that was like, I don't know, 20 years ago. I remember thinking, oh, I'm a singer. This is just the way it is. I want to be a singer. This is what I want to do. But I was too scared to do it because I knew I would never be good enough and that nobody would like it. And so it took me I think till I was about 29 to actually sing in front of anyone, and maybe in my 30s to actually go out and do anything about it. Whereas I'd been working on my craft since I was 4, taking it very seriously. But I thought, I'm not good enough to do this. Who do I think I am? This is just silly. It's embarrassing, right? But what happened was, when we released our first album, we had all this wonderful feedback that I wasn't expecting. I thought, well, I'm not that special. I'm not that good. I just like to sing.
Special.
I like to write. I like to sing. So when these people are so like, wow, we love you, when you're really not expecting it, and I'm an emotional person, I'm just like really grateful for even one person, and for them to, like I said, follow for like the whole time we've been doing this, so many people. I'm like, I just can't believe it. So, yeah, it means everything to me. So,
I hope
yeah.
you know how good you are now, though.
Sorry?
I hope you realize how good you are.
Well, I always want to be better, and I know what my limitations are, but I know that I like to challenge and push myself, so I'm okay with those challenges, but I'm happy with what God has given me to use.
Yes.
But definitely, I know I'm not the best singer in the world or anything like that, but I just love to sing,
On the other hand, you may be the best bearer of birdseed in the world.
Yeah, I am. I'm big giant bags of it. I take it every
folks. I just want to put in our little commercial message here. Seriously, folks, we're talking with a very fine singer, I think, and I know Monica thinks, Aria Burstyn, and Anne is the vocalist with Dream Aria, and they have, I think it's a total of 5 albums out now. Yeah. And I know, Monica, you're going to be adding some links on the description of the show. So go down there, click on those links, and find yourself some really, really good music, folks. And Monica, are we going to have an example after the?
Yeah, actually, you're going to see some of Anne's photography and also hear some great music. Yeah. And actually, Ken, I think, gosh, the time's gone by so fast right now. And Ken and I could talk to you for hours and catch up. Well, number one is I want people to take a look. Take a look at the music. Take a look at the people, because you're not going to find another group that appreciates their fans more than Dream Aria. That's all I can say.
And speaks to them more directly in their music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely try to connect to people through the music for sure. Yeah.
And I don't care what kind of music you like, you're going to find it in their songs.
Yeah, we're so eclectic. Yeah, we're eclectic. We've always admitted that. Yeah, we don't fit into the little box, oh, this genre, tick, nope.
That's what makes you special and outstanding, because you did what so many others couldn't do.
I think so many others think that they're not supposed to, because even, when I took recording arts, I went to an actual music recording arts school, and one of the things that they kept telling us over and over again, make sure if you're in a band, it's one genre, so you don't confuse people, because they'll never like you, they'll never follow you, and we're like, my band is like, we're doing this because we love it. We're not trying to fit in.
Yeah, and you're proving them wrong.
You have the great advantage. You have the great advantage of being Canadian.
Yes, I'm happy to be Canadian.
Being Canadian really means that you don't have to fit into a box. I think that's when I've spent enough time in Canada to realize that Canadian, there's a freedom to being a Canadian.
There is, yeah. Definitely. It's cultural here. Yeah. The melting pot, they call it, right? Well, for instance, my background, let me see, is Russian, Israeli, Polish, Scottish, Irish, British, and Native American, Osage Indian. I think I got them all. So that's like a typical Canadian. We've got the whole.
We're the United Nations all in one.
That's it. And I think it's pretty cool, that it's like that here, right?
And before we leave, what is the best place that you would recommend people go to catch up with you and see what you're doing?
Yeah, I think Facebook is probably the best platform. Just Dream Aria on Facebook, or they can just Google us and find us virtually everywhere. I mean, we're on Reverb Nation. That's probably a good place just to hear the music and get a little background. But Facebook, we can interact with these people if they want to reach us, if they're looking for links or CDs or what have you, or just to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Dawn and I are always on Facebook. Every single day we check. So that's probably the easiest way to reach us. Yeah.
Okay, we will have links available, so just take a look, under our information, and one click, you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thanks.
YouTube and all that too, and Spotify. So yeah, we're kind of everywhere.
Thanks so much for taking time to join us today.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Very-
When is your next album coming out?
Oh gosh, who knows? Whole COVID thing, and that's another thing too, is, we had that 1.5 year delay, and then we were just getting back on track and, writing like crazy, and all of a sudden, boom, COVID. We're,
Yeah.
oh no. So it was really difficult for us to get together just to finish this 5th CD. So now with things starting to open up, anything's possible.
That's
So
right.
New
But you
CD
let
is
us know.
called
Keep in
Out of the
touch.
Void, right?
that's the new CD. Yes, Out of the Void. Yeah.
Out of the Void. It's how recently is it out?
January 1st. We had finished it in, I think, November or December, and I said, I'm not releasing this in 2020. I do not want 2020 stamped on our album. That seemed like the best
I
idea.
don't blame you.
So we waited January 1st, 2021 to release it. I'm like, thank you very much.
I think it's such a great name for us coming out of the pandemic, which
Yes.
has
Yeah.
certainly felt like a void in
Yeah.
our lives. So now,
Yeah.
folks, we are coming out of the void, and look for Out of the Void by Dream Aria.
There you go.
Folks, and take care, keep in touch, and folks, you're going to really enjoy what we have next. Okay. Bye-bye.
Write me a love song, you said, with thoughts of love of you I did, where pictures hang on the wall, shadows of you still in the hall, things I should have said. Alone with my memories, thinking of all the things unsaid, where quiet tears are shed, one for every year you lived. If you can hear the song, it echoes of the past, reminds me of the time we had, all that we shared and lived, sprinkling of fairy dust and joy to